You got any
Yes.
plans today other than obviously this?
No, so I watched a film this morning, which I'll get onto. I'm going to cook a roast chicken dinner
Nice.
because I'm not a huge. I don't mind lamb, but lamb is such an arduous meat to cook at home anyway. Even though I do like cooking, it's a bit. Let's just leave lamb to going out somewhere.
Yeah, let somebody else
So
cook it. Yeah, yeah.
the thing with lamb as well, like I said, even though it's a nice meat, it's a really nice meat to eat. It stinks out your home for some reason. It's not the nice
Okay.
smelling of kind of meat. So I just thought, you know what, I'll go with a roast chicken dinner with cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, and Yorkshire puddings, mashed potato, roast honey glazed roast parsnips. So the works. So I'm going to do that later on and just probably play some video games.
So here's a totally non-movie related question regarding chicken dinners and stuff. When you eat your meals, do you put it on your lap and watch TV, or have you got a table you sit at, or whatever?
Yeah, so I pretty much just do that. I've got a lap board which I'm going to be using for something completely different in a few months' time, and so yeah, I've got a lap board for that, and I have me TVs, one
Yeah.
in front of me, one to the right of me, so I have one of me TVs on.
Do you have a routine when you're eating your food? And by that I mean when we're sitting having our meals, it takes half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever, to eat a meal. We watch like a half-hour program. So we've gone through the entire run of Friends. We've watched a ton of Grange Hills, and now we're working our way through Young Sheldon because there are all these like 22-minute programs that we watch. It's like, right, it's food, watch program finishes, we're done.
I don't do it with a TV program, but you can probably guarantee about 8 times out of 10, there's a YouTube channel that I am obsessed with called Sorted Food. It's a cookery channel, but they're sort of like, even though they give you really fantastic hints, tips, information in regards to food, they're also entertaining as well. So they do challenges and tasks and all that kind of stuff. And
What sort of challenges? Give me an example of a challenge.
So, for example, they might have what's called a mystery bag. So there are chefs in Sorted Food, and there are what they call normals. So the three hosts are the normals, and then you've got your chefs. And so the normals are challenged to cook a meal out of a set of ingredients, or they've got to identify these specific ingredients from this meal, or they've just launched a quiz in regards to food, and lots of different silly things like that. Pick the premium. So they've got to pick which one has got the premium ingredient in it over the one which is the basic ingredient. They've done the ones I love is the ingredients from around the world. It's like you'd have never heard of pretty much 90% of the ingredients that they're actually seeing, and they've got to guess where in the world that dish comes from. Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating because some of the stuff I've learned from that is unbelievable. Like it's just food-wise, it just blows your mind where some of our foods come from. So I love it. And it's pretty much every meal that I do. I'll go onto the YouTube channel, go onto their channel itself, and just click randomize, and it'll randomize the videos. And so I get a random selection.
How good would you be on that quiz? Would you think you'd get a lot right? Or
I know some of the stuff. I know some of the obscure stuff. Like if you showed us a burdock root, I know what a burdock root is. Mm-hmm. So where our drink dandelion and burdock comes from, which fascinating fact. Also, Velcro comes from that as well.
Velcro?
Yeah, because the guy who discovered Velcro, he was taking his dog out for a walk one day, and this plant just got stuck to his dog's fur all of the time, and he obviously made the connection that this plant can stick to things. And so that's where Velcro was invented, but the root below the plant itself, which burdock root grows horizontally rather than vertically like most roots, could also be used for burdock, which we use in our drinks. And in Japanese cookery, they use it very much same as like taro or stuff like that. They just chop it up and put it in a coleslaw. So burdock root is used for a drink, a coleslaw salad kind of thing, and also Velcro.
Who'd have thought this podcast is not just movies, it's also educational as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. I've learned something new as well. So, impressive.
The amount of stuff that I've learned from that, for example, France banned potatoes because they believe potatoes to be poisonous, which potatoes in in a certain amount is poisonous. You're not supposed to eat them raw because they are poisonous.
Yeah.
But France banned potatoes because they believed them to be poisonous.
How long did that ban last? Do you happen to know, or is it?
They only started eating potatoes about 100, 150 years ago, so not too long ago in that kind of context. But yeah, they believed their potatoes to be poisonous.
Wow, that's impressive. I don't know how to segue from that to what video games you've been playing. So I'm just going to say, what games have you been playing? What's been keeping you occupied?
So I finished Split Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
It took a while, but it took a while for the friend to actually come around and finish in Split Fiction, which is not a hugely long game anyway.
Yeah, the longest part was waiting for your friend to play it so you could jump on board.
Pretty much. So I finished Split Fiction, and then we've started It Takes Two, so the game prior to Split Fiction, which is even longer than Split Fiction, unfortunately. So that's going to take a while for us to get finished.
And this is also one of them co-op ones that you'd mentioned.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I've been playing that Blueprints, which is on PlayStation Plus Extra. It's on Game Pass as well. It's a run-based puzzle tile house building deck game.
Okay.
If that makes sense. The basic premise, because a friend asked me can you just tell us what the game is about? Without giving anything away, the basic premise is you've inherited a house, and every single day you start in the foyer of the house. The house has 46 tiles. So you bring up your map and it's 46 tiles. So it's 9 by 5, and then there's an extra tile, which is the 46th room. Your challenge is to get to the 46th room. The way you do it is, in the foyer, there's 3 doors. There's the left, the right, and the forward door. When you go to a door, 3 tiles pop up, and you've got to select what the next room is going to be. Right. And so it could be anything from hallways to conservatories to bedrooms to things like that. Some rooms have specific puzzles in them. Some rooms have specific traits to them. So, for example, in the Nook, you could find a key. Some rooms demand keys for you to actually progress further. Some rooms need a security card for you to be able to get through. And your challenge is to find your way into room 46, which is room 45 has 3 doors. Those 3 doors can only be opened by specific levers, but you've got to make sure that you draft the correct room where that lever is in. The drafting is very RNG, so it's random. So you don't know what doors rooms you're going to get. The puzzles can be very random as well, but it's not just as simple as being able to find one of the rooms with the lever in. It can be that you've got to do a few certain tasks before that room will ever appear. You've got to find certain things. And then you've got the outskirts as well, where there's a few challenges and puzzles around the outskirt. It's free on PlayStation Plus Extra. So if you've got that, and if you want a very interesting, very challenging, but really rewarding kind of game, I highly recommend it.
It sounds, obviously, describing a game can make it sound more complicated than maybe it is. Is it a complicated game, or is it pretty straightforward to play?
At first, you might find it slightly complicated, but the complications comes in getting the correct sort of like layout, because it's not as easy as you think. Oh, I'm easily going to just beeline straight for the 45th room, which is where the 46th room is. You could get there, but you might not have found one of the levers to open one of the 3 doors. And then it's the specific rooms that you get in your draft of 3 each time. It's not going to be that it's going to give you a run of corridors. You're going to get rooms where there's dead ends. You're going to get rooms where there's only one exit from it. You're going to get rooms where it demands a key to open that door, but you've got no keys. You might end up coming up to a room where it needs a security card, but the security card is harder to find than the keys are. So it'll take quite a few runs before you even get to room 45, and then the challenge is finding a lever to open room 46.
And how are you
find out?
How are you doing on it? Are you doing it? Have you finished it? You've done
finished it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long do you think it took?
It took me around about 30 runs, I would say. Okay. And then just because you finished the game and found your way into room 46 doesn't mean the game is finished, because there's still a lot to discover about the house itself, with more rooms that only show really rare random times, or the outskirts as well, trying to find, for example, you need to like these 4 blue flames. And again, it's down to a couple of rooms which you need, which is very RNG for you to get these flames to be lit. And then below that, there's specific puzzles as well and stuff like that. So there's still more to do once you've finished it. But once they start clicking into place, you just go, oh, I've got to do that to do this. I've got to find that to do that. And that's how you do this puzzle. There's even mathematics involved into it as well, involving a dartboard puzzle, which to get a trophy on that, you've got to complete that puzzle 40 times. And every single time you complete that puzzle, the next one gets harder and harder and harder, with a lot more mathematical equation elements thrown into the mix as well. So it's not as just simple as going, ooh, I found the nook, ooh, I found the library, and then, ooh, I found a hallway. But what do I do next? I can't get through this room. Oh, I've got to end the day.
Yeah.
So
I would have to question those that go, I'm just going to sprint to room 46, because it's like, why buy a game or play a game if you're just going to try and finish it as soon as possible? That's a problem with a lot of podcasters and website reviewers and stuff. It's like, I need to tear through this as quick as possible so I can do my review or whatever. And it's like, you should just enjoy games and just chill out and have fun with them and whatnot. So
that's the genius about this game, though. It will not let you.
Good.
You're going to have the best luck possible on your side for you to get from the entrance hall to room 45, just beeline straight for it, because it will not happen. You might get halfway there at the best, but you will never get fully way there, because even, like I said, you get to room 45, you've got to find something called the foundation, which enables you to get underground to do specific puzzles. And it's nowhere near as easy as you think. Like, you put the game on, I'm going to get this finished in half an hour. You probably won't even get to room 45 within the first 10, 15 hours of trying.
And it holds your attention, the game?
Yeah, it's one of those, that's what's so good about run-based games. They're those kind of games where you go, just one more go. Because the runs are not hugely long. Runs might last, you might have to give up after 10 minutes because you're just blocked off. There's no way for you to actually proceed any further, or your run might last half an hour. So you just go, one more go. One more go. Hades is a perfect example of that kind of game where it's just, one more run. And then you find out it's like 5 o'clock in the morning and you've got work in an hour and a half time.
That's not good. Have you done that?
Mm-mm.
No?
I know where to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Cut off the supply.
Mm-hmm.
So how's your television watching going? Because you're having a nice little run there watching TV shows. Has that stalled, or are you still watching stuff?
No, so Daredevil, which, to be honest, I wasn't even overly enamored with, if I'm being completely honest with it. I know a lot of people hyped it up and it wasn't as good as expected to be. So just Daredevil Born Again. I'll stick by when the next season drops because it's finished now. And then obviously the new season of The Last of Us started last week. I watched the first episode of that.
I'm up to date on that. Up to date, having watched the pilot episode, so it's good. It's good to see that show back. So I'm still curious. I do have the game. I ended up picking up the remastered PlayStation 4 version. I've installed it. I haven't played it yet because I've just not had time. I've been playing other stuff, but I have got that ready to roll. Chris listened to you and I chatting about it, and you'd said just go for the PS4 one. There's not much difference. He thinks there is a lot of difference on the PS5 one, but
remastered graphics, better graphics, better frame rates. But I think the game itself held itself anywhere from the PS4. So it's not like you're going to miss out on a few really good textures, graphics, things like that. But it's not like chalk and cheese. It's not night and day. It's not where they've gone and completely done an overhaul of the game itself, like new areas, new levels, things like that. It's not that kind of remaster. It's just up the graphics and tweaked a few things. So you'll be fine with that. But yeah, the season 2 of The Last of Us is obviously starting where Last of Us Part 2 actually started. So those things that happened in that episode, which happens very much at the start of the episode, the game of The Last of Us Part 2, and then obviously had their own way and tweaked a few little things here and there. And so I think they've got the casting correct, spot on. because each of the characters in the TV series in the first episode of season 2 looks like the people in the game. Abby's anger is there, so you won't know that unless you played the game. It's character Abby, but Abby's anger is there. I think they've chose the right actress. She's not as bulky, because Abby, as a character in the video game, is very bulky. The actress who they've chosen is nowhere near that. But if you can choose somebody who can play the actor with the mannerisms of Abby, it makes you forget about the heftiness and the bulkiness. So we'll see how things go, because Abby in the game is a very troubled character. And so she has got a lot of nasty anger pent up inside of her. So it requires a lot of pent up anger from the actress to play that in the TV series. So because we know how Bella Ramsey can play her, we know how Pedro Pascal can play her, Joel and Ellie. So we've already seen that they embody those characters brilliantly. It's the new ones which they introduce into season 2, where you think Dina, the person who they chose plays Dina, perfect, really good casting. It's got the mannerisms and movements of Dina, so I think they've got the casting spot on. Yeah, but we'll see.
I'm enjoying. We're going to try and make sure that we keep up to date with it. I'd held off for like a year or two to watch season 1 because I knew there was going to be a gap between 1 and 2, so I'm quite glad I held off. I'm hoping it's not like a 2-year gap between season 2 and season 3, but who knows? Seems to be the norm nowadays, doesn't it? Where they just 2 years time it'll come back, but
it takes a while. It takes a while for them to shoot the episodes as well, because especially in The Last of Us Part 2, there's a lot more. Weather plays a lot more in regards to what happens in the TV series and video game than it is in the first one, because there are elements. Obviously, you go through the game itself in the first one, and the seasons change. And there is a part in the first one where it is snow and ice and turmoil. So that was very difficult to do. Last of Us Part 2 is on a more grander scale in its scope. And so elements do play a lot more to it. So there is a lot more challenges with that one. So I wouldn't be surprised if after this season's finished, we do not get to see season 2 of The Last of Us Part 2 until 2027. I wouldn't be surprised.
I was thinking 2027 is probably going, and they're so expensive, these shows, to make as well. So, and obviously with The Last of Us, it's all up there on screen pretty much, and it's a pretty impressive looking show. So, keeping up to date with that. Anything else that you're watching, or
not really?
TV-wise?
Just films, just films.
Movies. So, what have you got? What films have you watched?
A lot, actually.
Good.
There's around about 17 films on my list.
I've watched 5, so
And again, I did what I've done before, and I've split them into proper ones and quick hit ones.
Have you watched any more? Have you watched any more of these, like Popeye, Bambi, Cinderella's?
Yes.
You've watched some.
Yes.
Yep, got to have one of those every
Keeping
episode.
up with that one. The one I'll quickly throw out right at the start is Snow White, because you asked me obviously on the last show if I actually had seen Snow White at the time, and I hadn't, and then I did see it the day later. I did send you my quick thoughts on what I thought about Snow White. Yep. The trolls, they just ignore the trolls. You need to actually see the film for yourself, and when you see the film for yourself, you just see it how bad that film actually is. Because in all honesty, that film is not very good at all. You could just tell how badly it's been messed around with. Gal Gadot is awful. She has shown how bad of an actress she actually is. She has no emotion in her face, or just in the way she actually delivers lines. Sort of like scary is something that even a toddler would not be scared of Bluey. So it's just, she has no malevolence in her whatsoever. She's not like a...
Isn't Gal Gadot like that in all her movies, though? Because it's like Wonder Woman, she doesn't really have to play emotion, so that fits for the character. The Fast and the Furious, I can't even remember which one she was in, even though I've seen the films about 5 times. So that's how sort of throwaway that role was. And there's probably some films that she's been in that I haven't seen, but I don't remember her being like an emotionally charged character in anything, to be fair.
But in something where you've got to play one of the key elements of the film, you've got to show that emotion of ire or anger or terror or turmoil or something like that. But she does not do that whatsoever. There is, Angelina Jolie plays
Yeah.
Maleficent, easy for me to say, with just playful glee. Like there's a lot of just playful nastiness in her. You look at how Glenn Close played Cruella de Vil. There is a lot of sort of like childish, sort of like the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to her movements and her mannerisms and her facial expressions and the way she deals things. Well, the queen in Snow White was like that. She's got that playful joy, like really nastiness to her, because everything that she's doing, she gets off on it. She gets that joy from causing other people pain. But Gal Gadot does not do that at all in Snow White. It's troubling when the fact that I do agree that they should have had midgets or dwarfs to actually play it, the seven dwarfs, when in fact there was only one person who was a midget who actually played one of the dwarfs. And there was one other dwarf actor who played a different character in the film, which was a complete throwaway character who manages to defeat the evilness with a simple thing. So the dwarves are just completely throwaway. Just the whole film itself is so bad.
How was Rachel Ziegler as Snow White?
She's got a really good voice. The rest was badly written. Her character was just so sugar-coated. It was pathetic. Like, you do not believe that Snow White is the savior, when in fact in the 1937 cartoon, she is the savior. And I hated the fact that in an interview, Rachel Zegler said that she wanted to have an empowered woman as the lead. She didn't want to be saved by the knight in shining armor, the typical Disney thing. Well, the cartoon doesn't do that, because she does have power, being able to actually look after herself with seven dwarves and things like that. It causes a lot of power to do that. And so in this, she's a caricature even of the 1937. And that's in the 30s, where women's empowerment just did not exist.
No.
And by her saying that, you think, oh, we're going to find a very strong female-led character, when in fact, no, we're not. You're actually regressing it more so, because you do not bring any power to the role at all, because you still need saving. Like, the last bit in the film is obviously you supposedly defeating the queen. You do not do anything to do that. You are saved by tertiary characters around you, so that you can, in fact, destroy the mirror. No, there's no spoilers there, because it's in the cartoon. So by saying that you wanted a very strong woman would mean that you were able to defeat Gal Gadot's queen, and you were able to do it without the need of anybody else's help, when in fact you needed everybody else's help. So shut your bullshit, you stupid person.
I think one takeaway, I think Rachel Ziegler needs some media training. I think it's several times over the past however many, like year or so, she's said stupid stuff that she shouldn't really have said. So somebody get that wonderful voiced woman some media training.
Her brain cannot back her mouth up.
No.
It just can't at this moment in time. And so she's just going to shot herself in the foot, because a lot of directors are going to look at her and go, we're not going to cast you, because the amount of trouble you've brought on to this film, it's not just all Rachel Ziegler's fault when it comes to the film. She plays a part in it.
Yeah, she's definitely an ingredient. Yeah, definitely.
Disney played the biggest part in the problem of that film, majorly the biggest part. And so the direction, you might as well not even have had a director on the film, because the director pretty much had nothing to do. It was the studio who absolutely destroyed that movie.
Because so it's Mark Webb, isn't it, that directed that, and he can make movies because we've seen him. It's like
it's what Disney have done. They've gotten in directors with Note to do their live action versions or CGI reimaginings of animated classics, and they've only got it in because it's a name. And then the studio themselves are the ones that destroy the film, hoping that people would not think, oh, Disney have done it. It's the director. When there are more smart people out there, which is it's Disney, you've got your hand in these pies, you're messing it up so much so that you're expecting people to cut it up and get a nice sweet cherry pie, when in fact you've got fish and kidneys in that pie. So I agree. I don't like the trolls. The trolling of it is just pathetic. getting a 1.5 on IMDb, that's got absolutely no bearing meaning to anybody anyway. Because if you look at IMDb's ratings and you base your film watching off that, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Do
There
not
is,
do
because
that.
you and I could go on and we could give Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning a 1 out of 10. It's not even out yet, but we can give it a 1 out of 10, and that one will stay there. So it's
Yes.
I don't understand these people either that base it on Rotten Tomatoes numbers or IMDb. It's crazy. It's weird.
Watch the film first. Listen to the people who have actually seen the film, because that's the whole job of a critic. The whole job of a critic is for them to see a film and give people their opinion, what they have felt about a film, and then it might help you make your mind up if you want to go and see it or not. I know a lot of critics absolutely slammed it, but they slammed it because they saw the film. So see the film, make your mind up that way. Don't read a lot of trolls' information off IMDb based on a trailer or an interview or something like that.
Because if somebody gives an interview like Rachel Ziegler did and says some stupid stuff, it's like that doesn't impact the storyline of the film that you're sitting watching, because that film's probably already done. So I don't. Trolls need to just go away. They never will, but it would be nice if they did. I would personally say it's the worst one out of the Disney reimagined live action CGI ones. It's an absolute low point for them. And I hope, for hope's sakes, they just take a step back and think before they actually film. Well, they've paused or permanently cancelled or whatever, but we'll say paused Tangled, which was going to be a live action thingy. So that's not happening anytime soon. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, you finally watched it. Is it in your worst films of the year list?
Yes.
It is. Wow.
It will be. It will be in my, because I give it. I was generous on my rating. I gave it a 1.5 out of 5 because I have to use a half rating these days, because a lot of films I'm thinking, does it do a 3 or a 4? I'll cop out and go middle.
Give it a half.
So I gave it a 1.5, and the only reason why I gave it a 1.5 because of Rachel Ziegler's voice. Like, the film is functional. That means you get to the 1. If the film is functional, it will actually get an immediate 1. And then the 0.5 was for Rachel Ziegler's voice, because she's got a very good voice. The rest of the film is just absolute trash.
Oops. So there's not Snow White 2 coming around the corner?
Hopefully not. Nope.
No. What else you watched?
A couple of quick hits. There's a film on Netflix called Revelations. It's directed by the director of Train to Busan.
Okay.
It bills itself as a horror film, and in fact, it's a thriller about a serial killer who's supposedly killing in the way of God. It's sort of like the teachings of the Bible. It's interesting. It's got a few little decent twists and turns to it. It's fine. It's one of those slightly throwaway thrillers. It's not up there with Train to Busan.
Is it Korean as well?
Yeah, it's in Korean. But it was fine. Do not watch anything on Netflix dubbed, because their dubs are normally absolutely horrendous. So just don't watch it. But don't expect as pulse-pounding action and terror as Train to Busan.
Right.
Don't expect that. It's a completely different kettle of fish.
I still need to get around to watching Peninsula, the second Train to Busan movie.
Not as good.
Not seen that yet.
And the animated one is nowhere near as good neither, which is the one which is in between Train to Busan and Peninsula. Revelations also is produced by Alfonso Cuarón. Okay. So, but yeah, it's sort of like got Cuarón-esque kind of touches to it, but it's fine. It's fine. And then one which is on Hulu / Disney Plus / Stars. So Stars over here, Hulu in America. Control Freak, which is a body horror of sorts. It's about this parasitic thing that attaches itself to a woman through a cut on her head, and starts to control what she does, what she sees, how she acts, things like that. It's not up there with The Substance, but it's going to be quite hard, because The Substance is a fantastic film. So, but Control Freak is fine. It's fine. And then another quick throw with 825 Forest Road, which is on Shudder. It's from the director of the Hell House series, Hell House LLC. which I really like the Hell House LLC series. Got the final part coming out this year, Hell House Lineage, which I cannot wait for. If you've not seen the Hell House series, I recommend them.
I'm aware of them all, but I haven't seen any of them as yet.
A couple of them are on Tubi. So if you don't have Shudder, they're on Tubi. So I do recommend them. They are very good, very low budget found footage-esque films, but I do recommend them. They are quite fun. 825 Forest Road, he goes away from the found footage one. It is the typical spooky house kind of situation. It's nowhere near as good as the Hell House series, so that's a bit of a shame. And then the other one that I'll quickly mention as a throwaway one, A Working Man.
Yeah. I have that ready to watch at some point, but I'm just like, have I run out of everything else to watch? Because then I'll watch that one. I hated The Beekeeper, and to me it looks like A Working Man might just be yet another beekeeper. It's like, do I really want to watch that?
It's worse than Beekeeper.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's worse. Nothing makes sense in the film, dialogue-wise, story-wise, action-wise, acting-wise, anything like that wise. It's just nothing makes sense in that film. It is the kind of film where if it's on, so you've got nothing to watch, you're flicking through the channels and it just pops on. It's 10 o'clock at night. You're just looking for something to wind down. Maybes. It's a maybe at that point even. It's not even one of those ones where if, for example, a From Dusk Till Dawn sequel pops on, like The Hangman's Daughter, the third one, you go, ooh, I haven't seen this in a while. I'll watch this, even though it's not very good. Yeah. A Working Man is one of those films where, am I sure there's nothing else on? There might be something interesting in the 10 o'clock news, which is, you want to stay away from that most of the time? Or
pretty much, stay away from the news.
Or the show in this episode of Red Dwarf, which I've seen about 70 times on Dave, which is not called Dave anymore, but it shows you how intact I am with the channels. But there's that episode of Top Gear where they drive that car around the track very fast. I've done that thousands of times. There's none of that on. No. Okay, fine, I'll watch it then. So it's that kind of film. It's that, okay, fine, I'll watch it.
Yeah. I've seen people talking about Jason Statham and they go, oh, he's great and blah. And it's like, he's okay at doing what he does. He's very much like the current version of Van Damme and Seagal and all these. You know, they would go straight to VHS in video stores, I think, Statham movies, if the video stores and stuff were a thing. I don't mind watching. He's never going to win an Oscar, I don't think, but I don't think he cares. He's busy working, and that's all right.
It's the sort of like, it's the equivalent of slightly one up from the film 2000 movies. You outside of the UK, nobody will know the brand of film 2000. The brand of film 2000 is there is a studio currently at the moment which is releasing all of these Mickey Mouse films and Popeye movies. I can't remember the name of the studio.
No, I can't.
You know which studio I mean, but they're sort of like on the quality of the film 2000. But film 2000 is even a step down slightly from that. Yeah. So film 2000 was the complete bottom of the barrel. If you were making a film and the only distribution company to come by to select your film to release was film 2000, you needed to panic.
Oh no.
Yeah, Working Man is sort of like just a slight up from the film 2000 kind of canon. So yeah, it's not very good.
It doesn't look great, but yeah, The Beekeeper put me off. I thought the first 20 minutes of The Beekeeper, I'm like, this is going to be a really good film, and then it just turned into sheer stupidity and pure nonsense for me. So
yeah, I would forget about it.
I will. I've forgotten about it already.
Good. So other films, I'm just trying to search for something. That's why I'm constantly just checking on my phone, because there was something I wanted to search for, which I will get back to. But because I know you asked me to make a list of films that I'm looking forward to this year.
I have done my list. I was sitting last night about 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh crap, I've not done my list. So I sat down for about an hour and I'm like, I think I got 11, and then I've scaled it back to 10 because I thought I'll just keep it at 10. So
yeah, there was one film which I forgot the name of, and I was just doing some quick little Googling there, and I found it. So I will quickly jot that one down.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that a film you've seen, or is that a film you're looking forward to?
No, it's a film coming out this year, yeah. So films that sort of like bigger films. So I've seen the Minecraft movie.
And your thoughts?
Yeah, that kids need to shut the F up. They need to stop being absolute freaking idiots and giving cinema a bad name.
I've seen some news. I saw some news stories like in the past couple of weeks where cinemas are like, kids behave, and I'm like, are kids really behaving not much, or misbehaving not much in the Minecraft?
Yes.
Sounds like they.
Yes.
In what way? What way? And you went. You
So-
just did your screening.
No, in my screening, I looked out because it's before something the meme latched on. So I saw it on the day it came out. So there is a meme, and there's a specific part in the Minecraft movie where there is a ring involving a chicken and a little zombie that gets dropped onto the chicken, and people scream out "chicken jockey."
Yeah,
which is sort of it's in the game itself. And so when I saw it, everybody sort of like giggled at that bit, and then that's it. It is one of the slightly more funnier parts of a really bad film, anyway. And so after that, that chicken jockey became a meme, a real horrendously bad meme. What people are doing is when that chicken jockey scene drops in the film itself, they're not only jumping up, screaming and shouting, they are absolutely destroying the cinema screenings by throwing popcorn around, food around. There was one that I saw where somebody lit a flare and a firework in a screening.
Who goes to the theatre going, right, I've got my wallet, yeah, I've got my tickets, I've got my fireworks. Who does that? Somebody clearly.
There was one screening where I saw where the aftermath was the screen was absolutely destroyed. Like there was a huge massive hole in it and ripped from its hinges.
They're expensive.
They are very expensive.
Very.
The chairs were absolutely trashed. So everybody is acting like that to the point now where when it comes up to that scene for future screenings, cinemas are stopping the film.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sending in ushers into the screening when it gets close to that scene. They are stopping the film and they are warning everybody with inside that screen that when they restart the film, that if you do end up trashing or throwing anything around, not only would you be banned from the screening, you will be arrested as well. It's become that bad. Now, I know that, for example, The Room. The Room is iconic for scenes where people take plastic spoons and throw them at the screen.
Yeah,
which is fine because it's plastic spoons and they can't cause much damage anyway, and it's specifically set up for that.
And you're not going to get a big distance with a plastic spoon, really, are you? You know, if you're at the back, you're not going to hit the screen with that.
So there are specific screenings of films where people, obviously, when they go to see Rocky Horror Picture Show, they dress up and they react.
Showgirls is another one, isn't it? Showgirls. Yeah.
So with the Minecraft movie, they've took that meme and they've took it beyond too far to the point where it's physical damage and damage to the cinema. So people have been warned that when you do go in to see it, that when they restart the film, that you react so negatively, you will be arrested and banned from the cinema for life.
And I hope
which it's needed.
I hope there have been some arrests as well, rather than
there
just
has.
Good. Yeah.
But the film itself.
Because cinemas are struggling anyway, aren't they? It's like they don't need that crap on their plate. So yeah, the film itself.
The film itself, it is the highest grossing video game film of all time. Getting there. Very, very close to. Nearly beating the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
It made somewhere in the region of around about $320 million in its opening worldwide weekend. It did insane numbers, and it's still doing insane numbers. It's Easter, so it's going to do even bigger numbers because there is no kids' film. There was no big kids film released on Friday, so it's going to make insane numbers for a film that is just very average at best. There is a copy of it getting thrown around online, which is the unfinished version of the film. It's very weird to see stuff like this, piracy happening like this, because normally with a pirated film, you either see a cam copy of it, where people have actually took the cam or the phone into the screening and took a recording of it. or you see the official copies of it shown up online because it's very close to award season. So the smaller films, which are up for awards, normally screeners that normally get sent to critics and things like that, they find their ways online. So you see proper copies, or proper copies are shown up online because the film is ready for its digital release or Blu-ray DVD release. It's very, very, very rare that you'll see an unfinished version of the film itself make its way online. But there's unfinished versions of the film making itself online, and I've seen a couple of clips from them. And my God, the difference between a film in its unfinished to its finished version is, you've got to give a lot of these artists and stuff like that a huge, massive pat on the back.
Yeah,
because there are miles difference. Even though the film might be horrendously bad and some of the CGI is awful, you think in its original state, yikes. So, but the whole film itself is completely forgettable. It's just throwaway, forgettable fluff.
I think what puts a smile on my face, though, is when they announced they were doing a Minecraft movie. You obviously saw the usual internet people going, "What a stupid idea! That's not going to work." And then the trailer came out, and I watched the trailer. I'm like, "Looks fun," and then I moved on to something else. But then people were like, "Oh my God, this looks awful." Blah. So it's nice to see it come out and make a fortune, which is quite. It just shows that not everybody knows everything. But odds are you're probably going to get a Minecraft too, with no chicken jockey in it, hopefully.
It's been, I think it's been put into production already, the second Minecraft movie. So easily there's going to be another one.
Yeah.
But it gives video games movies a bad name as well, because it just means that it can fall down to the lowest common denominator and think that it can make money from it. Because there's another Silent Hill film coming out this year from director Christoph Gans, who did the first Silent Hill film, and we know that's going to be trash. And so, unfortunately, even though I'm actually a fan of the first Silent Hill film, but yeah, video games, they're just gonna think, oh, we can take the easiest way out to create a video game movie, and hopefully it makes money, because the Super Mario Brothers movie did that. The film itself is very low quality, but it made an absolute insane amount of money. There's a sequel of that coming along, and now Minecraft has done it.
Yeah, but we're getting an Until Dawn. I'm hearing good things about the Until Dawn movie.
It's got nothing to do with a video game, because it's got none of the characters from the video game. It's the guy who created the video game. He's producing the film, and he's wrote the script for the film. But the whole premise of the film, which is about time repeats itself at a very happy death day to you kind of manner, and they die and they've got to try and figure out what's actually happening. That doesn't happen in the game. If you've not played the game is very simple. It's very much like Scream. Kids go to this cabin in the woods to spend a winter with each other, and then malevolent forces kill them one by one, and they've got to discover what's actually happening. So it's one of those kind of video games, and the film has got nothing to do with that, just shares its name.
Which is a shame, because I haven't played the game, but I'll watch the film.
The game's good.
And if I watch the film and go, wow, I'm going to go play the game, and then the game's nothing like the film, I'll feel a bit gypped. I'm like, what?
The game is actually good. I would recommend playing the game, but that might actually work more in your favour, because if you like the film, then it'll make you go play the game and you go, oh, this is actually different. Yep. This is not what I was expecting. So it's definitely not. There's a new Five Nights at Freddy's film coming out this year at the end of the year. Yep. So Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So there are still going to be video game films, but thanks to the Minecraft movie, they're giving them even more of a bad name.
How long till we get a Fortnite movie? I think that's probably. I mean, we're getting a Zelda movie, but that will probably be a bit more serious than like Minecraft, I would think.
It's live action as well, the Zelda film, and that's 2027 when that's coming out, the Zelda film. So, yeah, we'll see.
We will. What else you got on this huge
couple
list?
Of quick more throwaway films. Shiver Me Timbers. So it is the Popeye film. Another Popeye film. It's the third one I've seen this year. It's the worst one out of the three. Didn't think they could get any worse. Shiver Me Timbers comes along and go, take this, hold this. Let me show you how bad I can make it. And yes, it is bad. I think there is going to be another one for us to watch, because Screenboat is released over here, and it got its very basic screen in America. So Screenboat, but that takes a completely different turn, because instead of it being a guy dressed up as Mickey Mouse, it is about a mouse and the bad guy is only a few inches tall compared to humans. So we'll see how they handle that. David Howard Thornton, him of Terrifier fame, is playing the mouse, and then there is the Bambi film, Bambi the Reckoning. That's out as well in the next week or so, a couple of weeks' time. So I should have at least those two.
I don't know how you do it. I'll be like,
I don't know how.
I'm good. There's plenty of other stuff to watch.
Seriously, don't know how they could get any worse. But like I said, Shiver Me Timbers is actually set a very, very, very low bar. So Screamboat, I've heard bad things about Screamboat, but it can't be any worse than Shiver Me Timbers.
Well, we shall find out when you watch it. You might come back and go, do you know how I said it couldn't be any worse? Yeah, it was worse.
Because I thought Mouse of Horrors was bad, but Shiver Me Timbers is worse. Mouse of Horrors, by the way, is on Tubi, if you want to subject yourself to it.
I need to investigate Tubi more. I've got it on all my devices, the Roku box and my smart TV. I just never go in it.
I would. It's got some really good classic stuff in there as well. It's not like just a home of absolute dross. If you've got a VPN, and connect it to Tubi, you can watch some banned films on there as well. So films that were officially banned in the UK, for example, Hate Crimes, which was banned in the UK, which I reviewed all the way back in 2012, before the ban came in for that film. That's on Tubi. So there are proper channels and official ways to watch banned films that have actually got banned. Movies like The Bunny Game, that's not on Tubi, which will never get released over here. But yeah, there is some really good stuff on Tubi as well. So it's not just a home of absolute hell.
I'm starting to get better at devoting like an entire evening to just sitting down and not being distracted by 85 different things and Twitters and Facebooks and stuff, and just watching stuff. But my backlog of things to watch is just crazy.
Yeah. Couple of another quick throwaway ones. Shudder film, Shadow of God, which is a possession film, which is bad. Just very little else to see about that film. Just think of the typical story that you see for possession films. This has that, but it decides to throw a gangster twist into it, which it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
The Rule of Jenny Penn. That's the John Lithgow film where he's in the old people's home, mental patient. It's creepy. It's not a horror film of sorts. It's more like a thriller. It's very creepy, very good acting. I would say it definitely worth a watch, but don't expect a horror film.
I do like Lithgow, so that would go up my list because of his casting alone. So
yeah, he's very good in the film. He's very nasty in the movie, but he's very good in the film. So yeah, The Rule of Jenny Penn. I've got two more quick throwaway ones. Home Sweet Home Rebirth.
Okay. I'm guessing that's a sequel to a film called Home Sweet Home?
Nope. It's got nothing to do with the film Home Sweet Home. It's got more to do with the video game Home Sweet Home. Which is a Malaysian video game. Came out in 2017. It took 8 years for the film to come out. So you make a video game and then you decide to do a movie based on that video game 8 years after the video game, which already was big in Malaysia. It didn't make very good waves over here. The premise of the film, it's got one of the actors from the Chronicles of Narnia films, all grown up now. Grown up and buff as hell. My God, there was a scene in the film itself where he's got one of these unimposing statures to him. Like he's got very scrawny arms and stuff like that. And there is a scene halfway through the film where he's, the whole premise of the film is demons have come onto the earth. Hell has been let loose thanks to this guy who decides to shoot up an entire mall. This ex-cop who's there with his family decides to say to his family, quickly go back to the hotel room, I'll handle this. And unfortunately, half the entire Malaysian population gets turned into demons, and it's his job to try and stop them at Evelyn Fox. Okay. Halfway through the film, he decides to try and properly hunt down his wife and his daughter. And there is a twist, which I'll not explain what the twist is, because something happens to him, which halfway through the film, there's a revelation. And so there's a scene where his wife could see that he's been hurt. And so she decides to say, let me handle your wounds. And again, like I said, very unimposing figure of a guy. Takes off his shirt. Christ almighty, he's been training. It's like he's injected himself with abs. Like he's got this specific needle where you can just stick it in your skin and you just instantly get a 10-pack. Like, you would never expect it. And that was the thing that took me off guard the most in the entirety of the film. You just don't expect it. Then shirt comes off, you're expecting just a very imposing figure, and then it's just abs. What the hell happened to him?
Went on the Hugh Jackman diet, probably.
He's jacked up more than Jackman.
Really?
And that was the surprise. Yeah, Jackman in the Deadpool and Wolverine film, he shows that he looks after himself. This guy, it's like he just went to Jackman, there's my coat. This is abs. What the hell? It's a pity the rest of the film is completely forgettable, apart from the abs scene.
Yeah.
Oh, it's yeah. And then there's a film that I actually do recommend, the last one out of my throwaway lists. It's on Prime, Amazon Prime. It dropped last week. It's called Conjuring Tapes. The Conjuring Tapes. It's got nothing to do with The Conjuring. It's a portmanteau film. 4 stories. These 2 friends, they find a box of videotapes and decide to watch the videotapes. The videotapes, each one that they watch, contains either one of the friends, if not both of them, in each one of the 4 stories. And they're wondering, how the hell have they actually become part of these 4 stories? And so there's one story which involves a group of friends decide to have a party one night to get together and reenact, because they used to shoot very low budget home horror films, and decide to reenact one of the horror films with a Ouija board, and one of them gets possessed, goes on a killing spree. There is the final story is about a cult, which is a really well crafted story. Like, it keeps your interest. You just watch it and you're just going, I could watch a whole film of this. And so if you're watching a portmanteau film where one of them you're thinking, I could actually watch a whole entire movie based on this, it works. It works really well. And so for that one, it would work really well. So overall, even though it's a very low budget film, the director's first films as well, it's actually pretty decent for a movie that was completely just dumped on Prime. Okay. So
The Conjuring Tapes. Yep.
Yeah, I recommend The Conjuring Tapes. And then on to the final 5 big films. In the Lost Lands, which is the Paul W.S. Anderson, Mila Jovovich, Dave Bautista film.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. I do quite like Paul Anderson movies, but
based on it,
some of them ain't great. But of course, you got Jovovich in there.
Based off a script written by George R.R. Martin.
Wow. Okay. So you can finish something then. That's quite good. Well done, George. You finished something.
Not Game of Thrones, though.
No, not Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so this is a typical another CGI snooze fest, unfortunately. It's just about a witch who grants everybody's wish. Her one rule is that there is no wish that she will not grant. This queen decides to seek her help to be able to find a shapeshifter so she can shapeshift into a wolf and take full control of a land. So it's got an aesthetic to it. It's very sort of like a bland kind of dystopian aesthetic to it. Yeah. There is a couple of okay enough set pieces in it. It's heavily CGI with some really bad CGI. The set pieces is, you can tell that Mila Jovovich is getting on in her age, that you can tell when she's doing it and when a stunt double is actually doing it.
Yeah.
So you can tell that. As a matter of fact, there is a scene in Home Sweet Home Rebirth, which is a smart way to actually do this. Near to the end of the film, there's a set piece which involves our main character in Home Sweet Home. And without giving something away, because it gives away some part of the plot, and I'm not going to say what it is, it has to switch to somebody else. And instead of them using a stunt double, the actor who they got to play the person who they switched to is the actor of the character in the film as well, that he has to switch between. So it's a smart way of doing it. Instead of using a stunt double, they actually switch back and forth. And so there might be a scene where he's fighting, then all of a sudden you see a different camera angle, which changes to the stunt double, but the character. And so it's an interesting way of doing that. I wonder if other directors would look at that and think, you know what, that's a good way we could do that. So that's a smart way of doing it. They don't do that in the Lost Lands. They just go for throwaway, typical CGI snooze fest, if I'm being completely honest. Very similar in a kind of look to Sucker Punch,
which I do love. I do love Sucker Punch.
I don't like at all.
I get why a lot of people don't like that, but
and then there is The Woman in the Yard, which is the Blumhouse film about a family who is accosted by this mysterious woman in the yard in a black shawl who sits on a chair and starts to cause trouble for them. It's not the best Blumhouse film, but it's nowhere near their worst because they've been on an absolute run of horridness. They're starting to break that run a little bit, and something like The Woman in the Yard helps. It definitely does help. It's very straightforward, and it's very safe. It's directed by Wam Colette Sarah, who's a decent enough director. So it is very, very safe, but it's a smarter way for them to actually get back to something which is resembling what they did in the past with how they handled horror films. So, because I haven't seen Drop yet, I want to see Drop.
I do want to see Drop, but then we're going to cinema this week, or rather next week, because it's Sunday now, and we were going to go watch Drop, but I'm hearing really good things about Sinners, so I may.
So I want to see Sinners as well.
I may watch Sinners and then watch Drop afterwards. I'm not sure which of those two to watch, but Drop does look. I saw the trailer for Drop like a week or so ago, and it came on, and I'm like, ooh, because the trailer sort of shifts, like, oh, so it's not just a rom-com. It looks a lot different than that. So,
directed by Christopher Landon, who did Happy Death Day. I do actually want to see Drop, and that's supposed to be really good. So again, it's another step in the right direction for Blumhouse. So 2 films off the bat, but yeah, The Woman in the Yard. Don't expect anything you've never seen before, because you're not going to get that with this. It's a very, very safe film. But it's one of those, it's a 3-star, but it's one of those recommend 3-star films. It's not one of those, definitely don't see a 3-star films. It's one of those recommending ones.
Yep.
I'm saving the best till last, so the best film I've seen this month. So there's Ash.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Directed by Flying Lotus, who is normally music video director. It's a sci-fi film, very similar in tone to things like Event Horizon.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a sci-fi psychedelic horror film about a woman on a spacecraft who wakes up and discovers that a crew is dead, being ripped apart by something or someone, and she's got to try and get off this planet when somebody else does actually show up, and just thinking, what the hell are you doing here? And then the story unravels. It's an idea film. There is a lot of visually striking moments of it because it uses a lot of different vibrant colors, lots of purples and reds and sharp, bold colors. It's very fast cut as well, so it doesn't sort of like languish. It just hits you with fast cuts, which doesn't always work because it makes it disorientating at times, and it feels like the story is disjointed. The score is very sort of like technologically techno rocky metal kind of feel to it, very similar to what you would get from a 9 Inch Nails kind of Atticus Ross push with like the Tron Ares trailer. So it's got that kind of score. I did like the aesthetic look of it. It gets into territories of possession and a malevolent being being able to take over people. There is some really gnarly gore scenes in it as well, practical effect gore scenes as well. So it is definitely for fans of those out there kind of sci-fi element horror films. It's worth a watch. It's got Aaron Paul in it as well. Iko Uwais shows up, but he doesn't do too much. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. But it has its problems. I think the fast cuts do not help the film. I think it sort of like tarnishes the film a bit. But I do recommend it.
Yep.
Novocaine.
Yeah, that looks fun.
It's not really.
Is it not? Oh, it looks fun and stupid and daft. It looks like a step up from Jason Statham movies.
It's way too long. It's on for an hour and 50 minutes. It majorly feels its runtime. It's about an hour and 20-minute max kind of film. The comedy majorly falls flat, but I have a very bad tin ear for comedy anyway. The action set pieces, there's a couple of decent set pieces in the film, but that's pretty much it. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. It's a very middle of the road kind of forgettable movie. It's unlike with The Working Man. If this film came on at 10 o'clock at night, they'll go, I'll watch this. It's not one of those ones where it'll come on at 10 o'clock at night and think, there's got to be something else on.
Right.
It's on, I'll watch it. It's like one of the. It's not like up there with the worst sort of like Fast and Furious films, but the most average Fast and Furious films. If they're on, you'll just watch it.
Yeah, of course.
So it is one of those kind of films, unfortunately.
Okay.
And then the best film that I've watched, Warfare.
I really want to watch. That was my 11th film, but I'd never heard of the film until I saw a trailer like a week ago. So I'm like, I can't really put that on my most anticipated films that I've been excited for all year because I didn't know about it until last week. But that looks really good.
Alex Garland, even though during his press junket for his last film, Civil War, he turned around and says he's not directing any more movies, and then he does Warfare.
So he directed it as well, did he?
Yeah, directed and wrote it. Partially directed, partially wrote it.
He said he was done, didn't he? He's like, not doing it.
Yes, no, because yes, he's wrote 28 years later.
Yeah.
But yep, he's doing a Soderbergh. So I thank God for him, because I love his films anyway. Even his worst film, which I think is Men, there are ideas in Men which is really malevolent and twisted and very interesting. But Annihilation, I think Annihilation is a phenomenal film. I love Annihilation. But he's a very, very accomplished and very smart director, because he does not care. Because the way he directs films is he directs films with an interest and an intrigue. And so with Warfare, it's just really simple story. It reminded me when I watched it a lot of Jarhead, when I saw Jarhead for the first time, the Sam Mendes film, which I really like Jarhead. It's up there with one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal films as well. But Warfare, it just follows a group of soldiers in Iraq in one set piece. So it's just a one set piece film in this house, which there unfortunately something bad happens. And so that's it. But it's gripping. It's completely gripping from minute one, where it starts off with them watching the music video for Call on Me, which is the women in the leotards in the dance studio one. You think, when I start watching it, I was thinking, have they gone and messed up here with this? Yeah, because it doesn't actually, it's not, the camera is not there with them watching the music video when it starts. It's just on the music video. And so you think, there's something wrong here. And then it's only about 30 seconds into the music video where the camera just pulls out. And it's the group of soldiers which is reacting to that video. So obviously, group of soldiers haven't been around women that often. They see that, they're leering, they're cheering, they're just having a jovial time. Spoilers, the last time you'll actually see them like that, having a jovial time, because that's when, unfortunately, they have to go to Iraq. And then, like I said, the rest of the film is just that one set piece. It's just one set piece, but with little elements within inside that one set piece. And I thought it was fantastic. It's very tense. There's not a lot of writing to it, but the genuine nature and just the attachment onto each one of the soldiers within inside there when the toughness happens. It is definitely recommending. I'm just trying to bring up my review of it that I threw up on Twitter, just to give you a quick understanding. I said it's a much more stripped back tale of combat survival. The film effectively puts you at the center of a singular survival set piece and makes you feel every bullet, every wound, and every plight of each of the soldiers' cries. So that's pretty much what I said. Without giving anything away of the film, and that's what I said when I posted my review on Blue Sky, my little pithy review on Blue Sky. So I can't recommend, highly recommend it.
It's like at the minute I want to watch Drop, I want to watch Sinners, and I want to watch Warfare. And it's nice to have films in the cinema that I want to watch, because for the past 3-4 months or whatever this year, it's just been like there's nothing really other than The Monkey, which I went to see. There's just been nothing that I wanted to watch. I'm kind of done with Marvel. I'm like, I'm too far behind to keep up with where all these things are going. I'm good. So it's nice that there are multiple films. So I probably will get to cinema. But how long's Warfare going to be on the big screen? I don't know, a couple of weeks.
Not very long,
now, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not a very long film as well. It's only on for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a straight to the point kind of film. But I've not seen Sinners. I desperately want to see Sinners. I haven't seen Drop yet, which I do actually want to see Drop as well. But out of the three, Warfare Warfare is a fantastic film, but I really want to see Sinners as well.
So I'm here. I don't know too much about it. I've seen people go, "Oh, it kind of reminded me of this other film." I did see the trailer, but thankfully I can't remember the trailer too much. But I'm going to try and watch Sinners before it gets totally ruined by people online bitching and talking about specific scenes. But it looks good. I eventually got round to, I've only watched 5 films, so my list will be really short. We rewatched Leave the World Behind on Netflix, and that's just finished reading the book. So we have this thing when she finishes reading the book, if there's a movie version, we watch it or rewatch it. I do like Leave the World Behind. I think it's got a great ending. It's a clever film. A lot of people didn't, but whatever. I rewatched for the umpteenth time Superman the movie from 1978 because I crazily thought that John Fouts and I had a podcast on Thursday where we were going to talk about Superman. I sat there. It turned out we didn't schedule it, so I felt like a right idiot then. I'm partway through watching Mel Gibson's Flight Risk, and it still baffles me that that's a Mel Gibson film. I think the film itself is okay. If somebody had made it as their first movie, you're like, it's not a bad attempt. What else you got? But for a Mel Gibson film, it's very, very strange. And
You've got to agree with, Mark Wahlberg is awful in that movie.
He is. It's just weird. It's like, did somebody lose a bet and that's how that film came about? I don't know. But it's definitely something going on. Rewatched an old one, didn't rewatch. I watched an old film from the 60s called A Taste of Honey, which is a British film. And it's about a girl she's 14. And basically, a mum says, right, I'm off. I'm going to move in with my boyfriend. You can fend for yourself, because that's what happened in the 60s. And it's about her trying to struggle through life. She gets pregnant and, hits tough times and all that sort of stuff. But that was a good movie. And my favorite film out of those 5, other than Superman the movie, because I've seen that many, many times, Smile 2. I finally got around to watching Smile 2, which I really liked. But I've seen the first one, and I can remember the premise of the first one. But the second one felt nothing like the first one. The second one felt more like a proper movie, as in, like, it took about an hour to get going, and then the plot kicks in, and it kind of makes me want to go back and rewatch the first one. But I suspect that 1 and 2 are really different.
Yeah.
Thought so. 2 feels like it's I don't know.
The first one is just, it feels like one of those throwaway, very typical idea horror films. Like they've got one idea and they just run with that idea, and they base all the set pieces on this malevolent force, which is causing people to smile, and then bad things happen. So whereas in Smile 2, they just latch it onto one person. Who's seeing all of this. In the first one, they latched onto multiple people, and so it's very more like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, Valentine's Day, urban legend kind of teen slasher film. The first one. Though.
The second one is, the first one is, it is like those, The Faculty and all these type of things, which are all good films, but it feels like set piece after set piece after set piece, and 2 felt like more epic, sort of. It felt like a film taken more seriously than you think Smile 2 would be taken like. You figure Smile 2 just be like, oh, do you remember that stuff that happened in the first one? Let's do that again to a whole bunch of different characters. And it kind of wasn't. It was, I liked it.
I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. It was slightly better than the first one, but I did find it had problems to it. I didn't find it malevolent as it was thinking it was, like as tense as it was, or like I found the elements which they're thinking were scary to be more comedic. The scene with the dancers where they're pretty much like melded into one kind of being. I found that more funny. Rather than just something that was meant to be scary. So when it was meant to be scary, it was more funny. The ending was a bit, oh God, you've gone down that route.
Annette picked up when they were all sort of like, looked like somebody pressed pause and all the dancers were just like doing cat ninjas or whatever it was. Annette turned to me and she went, oh, it's gone stupid now. But then thankfully it got a bit back on track. But I find the more interesting parts of Smile 2 were the whole watching celebrity, like the horrible mum and the assistant and all that craziness, because I find stuff like that fascinating anyway.
Yeah.
And it made me think, I really don't remember Smile 1 that much, because I don't remember it being like this type of movie. And clearly it wasn't, but at the same premise. But
I don't think very many people actually do remember the first Smile that much, because it is one of those forgettable throwaway horror films. So
yeah.
it's not a memorable horror film at all. So that's why nobody actually remembers it.
I think Smile 1's good. I remember the premise, but I remember watching Smile 2 going, was it aliens in the first one? I can't remember what it was, but I remember what they did. We smile and then they kill themselves type thing.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think you need to have seen Smile 1 to enjoy Smile 2, because it explains enough later on in the movie that you do know what the heck's going on. But it's all right. If people have got Paramount Plus, you can check it out on there. And that's it. That's all I've watched. So it's been a quiet week. I'm close to starting a watch of Boardwalk Empire, the 5-season TV show that was on a whole bunch of years ago. After Chris's recommendation, he said it's nearly as good as The Sopranos. So that kind of swung it for me. So I'm going to start watching that at some point. I did watch a documentary, which was like 2.5 hours, called The Rubber Keyed Wonder, which is about the ZX Spectrum. So if you did have a ZX Spectrum back in the day, then that is like pure nostalgia, because you see lots of screenshots of games. You're like, oh my God, remember that. Oh my God, remember that one. If you didn't have a Spectrum, maybe
I did have a Spectrum. I had a Spectrum and an Atari.
Wow.
So yeah, it was my uncle who got me the ZX Spectrum. So I had Chucky Egg I played a lot of Chucky Egg on the ZX Spectrum.
Chucky Egg was great. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I've watched video game wise. I've bought but not played yet Assassin's Creed Unity and Assassin's Creed Origins. I have The Last of Us installed, but I've not played because I've been busy playing Lego Superhero Marvel thing, whatever. So I've been playing that one. So, but yeah, and I'm going to try and watch a whole bunch of films over the next week. But I said that last time and it didn't happen. So there is that. But there are good films coming out this year, so it's good. So how many films have you got? I think, did I say pick 10? Or did I say good? Because I have 10. And I even went through and wrote the months that they're coming out. I didn't write the dates because sometimes they come out different dates in America to here, but I have written the month on mine.
I have 18.
Okay.
But I've split them. So just because I remembered one film, so I've got 11 in my ones to look forward to and 7 of the ones that might be okay.
Okay. Well, let's do that. Let's do your might be okay list. So what have you got that might be okay? So
the way of my brain will work is I attach myself more to the smaller films, but the smaller films don't even have a release date or have been announced. I sort of like look more forward to the films, the unknown. That's what I love about cinema. So a lot of the films are mainly some of the ones that we do know, the bigger films. So throwaway ones include Anaconda, just because I'm intrigued on how bad they're going to make that film. It's out in America on Christmas Day, on the 25th. It's out here on the 26th of December. So of all kind of films to watch on Boxing Day, we can go and see Jack Black and Paul Rudd chasing around a giant snake.
Wow.
Which is interesting casting. You've got Mortal Kombat 2. So the reboot I thought was fine. It was watchable as a video game movie. So you've got the sequel, the Philippou Brothers, which I will be announced, getting back to them a little bit later on. They were supposed to have directed Mortal Kombat 2. However, they had another film in mind. And so a different director is doing Mortal Kombat 2. So that's out on October the 24th. Again, subject to change for the dates. Conjuring, Last Rites, the final Conjuring film. That's out on September 5th.
I hope it's better than the last one. I bailed out the last one. I'm like, oh, no.
The Devil Made Me Do It. I hate that title. You've got the new Jurassic World film, Jurassic World Rebirth. The only reason why I've popped it on my list is because the trailer looked okay, but it's because of the director, Gareth Edwards. He's directing it, and I like Gareth Edwards as a director. So that the one which the biggest pendulum / question mark that's hanging above its head for me is the How to Train Your Dragon live action one, because I absolutely love the animated trilogy. So I don't know how they're going to handle the the live action one. From again, the trailer, it looks like a beat for beat remake of the first animated film.
Yeah.
So that's out on June 13th. You've got Ballerina, which is the spin-off John Wick film. That's out on June 6th. And the new Mission Impossible film, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, on May 23rd. Again, the only reason why it's in that list is because I didn't like the last two Mission Impossible films.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Dead Reckoning Part 1, I thought, was actually best, sort of like a best bits kind of montage movie.
Yeah.
So I just didn't think the quality of it was very good. So, and unfortunately, the box office takings proved that. So that's why they decided to bring in this one to The Final Reckoning. But you can't rule out a Tom Cruise action film to be bad. No. Even though, again, Top Gun Maverick, I thought was hugely overrated.
So underrated, that movie. It's not underrated because people loved it, and I love it even more. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a 3-star film, Top Gun Maverick.
For me, it's a 6 out of 5. Goes the extra mark.
You can tell that you didn't go to school. But, you can't rule out Cruise when it comes to that. So it'll be interesting. So they're a few the sort of lists.
I will give your voice a little bit of a rest, and I will do my top 10 films. They're not in any order. I just wrote them down last night. Although the first one comes out next week, I think, and it's a Netflix film. So Havoc, Tom Hardy and Gareth Evans. I always get Evans and Edwards mixed up. It's the guy that did The Raid. I think that's Gareth Evans. Don't really know what it's about too much. It's the guy who did The Raid. Tom Hardy's fine. I'm just hoping there's lots of broken legs and fancy set pieces and all that sort of stuff. But some of Gangs of London, I've been like, so who knows? It could be hit and miss. But I'm looking forward to that one. The next one, these are not in any specific order. F1, which comes out in June. The Joe Kosinski, director of Top Gun Maverick, woohoo, and Oblivion, and Only the Brave, I believe. I do like Kosinski. I love the way, because you said you weren't a huge fan of Top Gun Maverick, but the way the flight stuff was filmed, very impressive. Looks to be similar to what they've done with F1, where they've strapped cameras to Formula One cars and Brad Pitt's actually driving them and all that sort of stuff. I'm definitely going to make sure I go to the cinema and watch that one. So I'm going to check that out. September, we get the first of 2 Stephen King ones that I'm looking forward to this year. This is The Long Walk, where I think it's Francis Lawrence, I believe this one is, where it's a bunch of teenagers that enter this reality show competition quiz thing where you've got to walk, and then the winner gets a prize. If you lag behind or stop, you get a bullet in the head. I do love Stephen King stuff. Another King one, technically Richard Bachman, is it's not really a remake. It's another adaptation of the book, The Running Man, which comes out in November. Glenn Powell. A lot of people are whinging, another remake. It ain't a remake of the Schwarzenegger movie. The Schwarzenegger movie is nothing like the book that Bachman/Stephen King wrote. So I'm looking forward to seeing a more faithful adaptation. This is Edgar Wright, if I remember rightly enough. Lilo and Stitch comes out in May. I just think it looks fun.
I
just think it looks fun. I think Stitch looks great. Do you not really?
Oh. No.
Oh, no. You're going to go and watch it, though? Or are you just going to wait?
Probably. I'm saying no, but yes, I will.
You probably will.
I'll end up watching it, but no, it looks not very good.
July, we get James Gunn's Superman, a film which I'm sure the internet will try and tear to pieces because that's what it does to things. They can't just move on and go, I didn't like it. I think the trailer looks fine. I saw the extended look, which we got more Crypto Superdog in that. I think the dog will be the Grogu, the baby Yoda of Superman. I think people are going to love the dog maybe a little bit more than, Kal-El himself, but I'll check it out. October, we get Tron Ares, which you'd mentioned before. I was in the cinema to watch the first Tron movie back in '82. Really liked it. Didn't fully understand it as an 11-year-old. I'm like, okay, I don't quite get all of this, but it looks kind of visually cool. I do like Tron Legacy. It is in my top 200 films of all time. mainly because of the Daft Punk soundtrack, which I think elevates the film above where it would if it had like any other score. I like the fact that Nine Inch Nails, who I'm not a massive fan of, but I like Atticus and whatnot, the music in the trailer sounds like it will elevate the film up above another level as well, to where it would be. June, we get 28 years later, finally. Looking forward to that. The first of a hopeful trilogy. We're definitely getting another film after this one, but apparently they haven't even financed the third movie yet. So I guess it depends how much this one makes and how much the second one makes. I like that world. I'm sure lots of people will be going, zombie movie, but not a zombie movie, a rage virus movie. So that whole thing will stir up again. My number 9 is one you've mentioned, Ballerina. I love the world of John Wick. I'm a little bit sad that it's only a 90-minute film, though, with Ballerina. Normally, I do like 90-minute films, but I want to spend as much time as possible in the world of John Wick. And then from what I've seen with various trailers of Ballerina, there looks to be more than 90 minutes worth of stuff in there. It looks like it's a bigger story, so I'll be curious to see how that comes about. And then my final one, which you've sort of mentioned as well, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning comes out next month. I'm all there for Cruise. I will see him at the movies. I love what he does. I did like Dead Reckoning Part 1, but I get what you said. It looked like it was just the best of previous stuff. I think the one mistake that they made with Dead Reckoning was just showing too many behind the scenes things of, hey, look at the stunt he does. So when you watch the film, you're like, oh, that's not the beginning stunt. That was like the near enough at the end of the movie stunt. And you sort of, okay, you've shown me too much. They haven't done that much in this one so far, but we've still got like a month to go. So I'm hoping we don't get overkill on the, hey, look what Tom's doing. Let me see it on the big screen and then watch him doing it in real life. I'm good for that. So that's my films. Warfare was going to be my 11th one. But like I said, I'd only discovered that last week. So I thought it doesn't really bode well being on my most anticipated films of the year when I only knew about it 7 days ago. So there's a whole bunch. I'd forgotten about Jurassic Park, so that would probably go on there as well. I do like.
And I'm probably going to mention some that you'll have forgotten about as well. So, because I've got more.
My list may get bigger. So what have you got?
So you've already mentioned 28 Years Later. Huge fan of the last two, 28 films, 28 years and 28 weeks. That opening of 28 Weeks Later will still be etched in my brain as one of the best openings in a film ever.
Yep.
Because that score, oh my God, that score is just phenomenal.
Goose tingles just thinking about that. Yeah, all the shots of them running down the hill. You're like, oh my God. Yeah,
it's just like the score for Sunshine. It's up there with my favorite scores of all time. That score for Sunshine is unbelievably brilliant as well. So I can't wait for 28 Years Later. You've already mentioned The Running Man, which I'm very, very intrigued by. The Running Man, because of Edgar Wright, because he makes some very good films. And you've already mentioned Tron Ares. So those ones. So I'm leaving the two films I'm looking forward to the most till last. So there is the new Final Destination film that's out on May 14th, Final Destination Bloodlines. I just want a bit of stupid popcorn gore fest. That's all I'm looking for. Tony Todd's final movie appearance as well. So yeah, just give me gore. Just give me some stupid, silly kills. The trailer has alluded to the silly kills, even though it's sort of like alluding to kills we've seen before, like somebody being hit by a truck. But you can always guarantee there is going to be at least one or two very interesting kills. Look at the gymnastic death in one of the. That is just fantastic.
The sunbed.
Look at the and the dentist one, where he's coming out of the dentist and that huge massive pain just absolutely crushes him. So there's some really good deaths. That's all I want. Just give me popcorn death. You've got the new Fantastic Four film, Fantastic Four First Steps. Out of all the superhero films, this is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah. Because I do like the casting. And it does look like it could be an entertaining, fun film. So there is that. That's out on July 25th. The new Predators. There's 2 Predator films coming out this year. There's an animated one and there's a new live action one. Dan Trachtenberg is back to direct the live action one. That's out on November 7th. I loved Prey. I thought Prey was a really good step in the right direction for the Predator franchise. I'll stick up for Predators 2, even though Predators 2 gets a lot of stick.
Yeah, I like it.
I like Predators 2.
Yeah.
Eddington, which is the new Ari Aster film. You know that a new Ari Aster film will bring intrigue and weirdness. So Eddington is probably going to fall down on that. Clown in the Cornfield, which is out in a couple of weeks' time, which is just, again, an old school slasher film, which I've got a hankering for a good old school, just brain dead slasher film. And Clown in the Cornfield from the screens in America and stuff like that, I've said it's that popcorn kind of watching Scream again.
Okay.
Kind of the first Scream. So that's out on May 9th. Alpha, which is the new Julia Ducournau movie. Anything Julia Ducournau touches, I am guaranteed to be there because I love Raw. Raw is a fantastic film, and Titan is a brilliant film as well. And early mutterings for Alpha have said that this is her most personal film. It's about a little girl torn up in war. So, but Julia Ducournau had a full-on human touch to horror. And so I cannot wait for Alpha. But my 2 most eager films, no surprise, Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's new film, that's out in November. You've got The Bride as well, which is Maggie Gyllenhaal's film, which early mutterings have said it's not very good. It had to go back and have some reshoots and stuff like that from test screenings, but the test screenings did not go down very well. So I've still got hopes for it, but Frankenstein, a Guillermo del Toro film, of course I'm going to be there. He's my favourite director. And then my most eager film from the sort of like biggish films that are out this year is Bring Her Back.
What is that one?
It's the Philippou brothers film. So direct from Talk to Me.
Okay, yeah.
It's their new film. It's got Sally Field in it. Wow. And it's about a little girl who dies. And she plays a grieving mother who tries to bring her back. Very similar to Pet Sematary and stuff like that, but more low budget and done with their kind of... Because I thought Talk to Me had some really good tense moments in it, and the trailer for Bring Her Back looks so creepy and so eerie that I cannot wait for it. That's out on May 29th.
I will check that trailer out when I go downstairs, because I do like the cast, so...
That's my most eager one this year. Bring Her Back.
So there's a whole bunch there, isn't there? It's like it felt like certainly since January to now, it's like, is there anything coming out? And you look at the box office top 10, and it's pretty poor worldwide. The Chinese film is still leaps and bounds above anything else, and obviously, I think Snow White's like number 3 or number 4 or something, and that's only 180 million. Say only. I wish I had that. And obviously Minecraft and Captain America and stuff. You're like,
Minecraft will be number 2 now, probably because that Ninja 2, it made billions in China.
Yeah, so, it's like 1.8 billion or something. So it's like, I mean, the only one that is possibly going to take that out would be Avatar at the end of the year. But who knows? I know it's not going to appear on either of our lists.
Now, this is where I add a caveat to Fire and Ice or Fire and Water, whatever the subtitle is called. It's Fire and something.
I think it's Fire and Ice, isn't it? It's Fire
with the new Avatar film.
Yeah.
It would, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be the biggest film of this year. It would have been if this stupid tariff thing didn't happen. The stupid, the absolutely stupid President Trump, because China have turned around and said, okay, then if that's the case, we're not going to allow your big American films to launch in China. Now, if something like Ninja 2 can make $1.5 billion in one territory alone, China is, outside of America, the biggest area for movies. And when a blockbuster hits, it hits bigger in China than it does in America. Mm-hmm. It will actually make more money. So they're going to look at Avatar from a big, huge, massive American studio, despite the fact that it's shot in New Zealand and Australia.
By a Canadian director. Yeah, exactly.
They are going to
look
at that film and being a big, huge, massive American film.
Yeah.
So if China do follow through with not allowing big films to launch in China, that film, yes, it will crack the billion, but it won't get us anywhere near as the last two Avatar films.
No, I mean, a lot can happen between now and December. As we know, a lot can happen in 2 weeks in politics, certainly in the US. But yeah, if I was James Cameron, I'd be like, look, I'm from Canada. Yay. You know, but Disney are in America. Yeah, but I've shot it in New Zealand or Australia or whatever.
Still doesn't help.
Please. They'd be like, nope. Like, damn it. I'm out of loopholes.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only two loopholes you can cough up with.
So I think this is going to be a testing year for big American films when it comes to the box office, the worldwide box office. It might do brilliant in America, which the Fantastic Four will, and some of the bigger superhero films will, etc. So they will do. But if China does that lockdown on these big American films, then the worldwide box office is going to be nowhere near the amount that studios expect. So with Avatar, it's got a question mark beside it for me.
I think your Mission Impossible will suffer with the China blockade. I think Jurassic Park, probably the biggest ones. Lilo and Stitch, probably. Yeah. I don't think the Running Man's going to sort of struggle too much. I don't think there's a huge demand for that in China, but certainly with Avatar, there's a reason they have an Avatar land over in that part of the world. It's because they love it. So, but I haven't even seen the second one yet. I started and I'm like, I don't want to watch.
Really did not like that. I thought the second one was worse than the first.
Yeah, first one I think's okay. You're like, I get it as a tech demo. Avatar looks great. Now it looks a bit like a bit ropey. But the second one, I haven't managed to get through. I'll push through at some point. I only just got around to watching 2001: A Space Odyssey this month for the first time in my entire life. So Avatar 2 can wait for a little bit, I think.
About another 30, 40 years, probably.
Probably I will just watch it on some sort of hologram in the old folks' home.
Yeah, they'll just go to you. You like your films, don't you? There is an interesting film from a bygone era just on pushing you in, and there's Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
And spent about 3.5 hours watching sea whales or whatever it is. I don't know.
It's the Avatar channel. Avatar 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he is making 5, and that's going to be out a couple of years later.
Yeah, I kind of miss getting a new James Cameron film. I know he didn't make like loads of films often. You know, he wasn't spitting them out like Ridley Scott. Ridley was like 2 a year, wasn't he? At one point, probably still is. And but James Cameron just took his time making movies, but he's now taking his time making movies, and they're always Avatar movies. So who knows? What are you going to watch this afternoon then? Anything exciting or not?
Well, I've watched 6 films in the last 3 days, so I don't know if I want to watch another film, if I'm being completely honest.
Play games, watch sport, something like that.
Yeah, the Liverpool match is on later on, so I might just watch the Liverpool game instead.
There you go.
And cook food.
Yep. I'm going to go and watch that. What's that Sally Field film called?
Bring Her Back.
Bring Her Back. I'm going to go watch the trailer for that. Check that out. And,
I'm off work for the next 13 days now anyway, so...
Wow.
Because unfortunately I've got a funeral to attend on Friday, and then I'm going down to Cardiff on Monday next week, and it'll be my first time on a plane. I've never been on a plane before. Nope.
Wow.
So for work, I've got to go down to Cardiff.
Okay. So how long's that for? Is that like how long are you down there for?
I travel down on Monday evening, back very late Tuesday evening. So it's only for just over 24 hours. But yeah, I've got to travel from mine to Newcastle Airport, get a plane down to Brighton, and we're getting picked up from Brighton in a car from Brighton to Cardiff.
That's quite a long drive, isn't it? Brighton to Cardiff?
No, it's only about an hour, just over an hour and a bit.
Is it? All right. Okay. I clearly don't know my geography.
Because there's a bridge that connects it. That connects Brighton, pretty much Brighton over to Cardiff, over the wheels. So,
all right.
So,
did not know that. That's the second thing I've learned on this podcast. So I know where Velcro came from, and I know there's a bridge from Brighton to Cardiff.
And potatoes used to be poisonous. Well, the French thought potatoes were poisonous.
And they were banned in France. Yep. Brilliant. Right, I'm going to leave you to it.
It takes a couple of million bananas to actually poison you from radiation. because bananas are radiated.
That one I did know. I'm not likely to die of banana poisoning anytime soon, I don't think. So
good.
But yeah, you enjoy your afternoon.
You too.
Thank you for the list. And
no problem.
Have a good trip to Cardiff.
I will try.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.